It's hard not to start in LA because when we see things that we don't often see, we get excited. You don't often see the Milwaukee Brewers with a 10-game winning streak. That's awesome. You don't often see a team beat the Dodgers 6 times in a year. Does not happen often. And that's what the Brewers have done. You don't often see, frankly, if you want the stats on that, I'll give them to you. The Brewers are only the 3rd team to go 6-0 or better against the Dodgers in a season. 3 times it's happened. The Cardinals did it to them in 2006. What happened to the Cardinals in 2006? Hold on, I'll think about it. Something good may have happened. The Braves in 1994. Anything good happened in 1994? No, nothing that good at all. Unless you're from Montreal, in which case it was worse than not good. But the Brewers just seem to have the Dodgers number. And post-game, that's what you focus on. What's going on in that clubhouse in Chavez Ravine? Let's start with Dave Roberts. Furious. I think he's furious for several reasons. And let's be clear. Number one, he's frustrated. When you are 2-10 in your last 12 games, when the objects in the mirror are much closer than they appear, and that's the Padres, forget the Giants because post-Devers, they're fading, not climbing, you get frustrated. Then when you come out and say that, hey, it seems like this team continues to sabotage itself, too many mistakes. He's talking base running. He's talking hustle. He's talking just baseball play. That's what we talk about mistakes. We don't talk about the physical errors. We talk about the mental errors. The Yankees could talk about the same thing, and we'll get to them. But when you think that your team is sabotaging itself, you have to talk to your team, and you have to make some changes. You have to figure out what you're going to do to try to jerk the machine into a different gear, is how we used to put it. We have to grind some gears in order to do something to stop what's happening. Because in baseball, things tend to snowball because you play every day. You'd think that the break, the All-Star break, would provide some sort of natural marker which would have enabled the Dodgers to reset. But things happen during the course of the weekend, whether it's Freeman getting hit in the wrist, x-rays are negative. He could be okay. He may need a day. Mookie Betts is having the worst stretch of his career. So bad that Dave Roberts gave him the day off Saturday. This is good. So let me tell you what happened and then tell you why it's funny. So the manager comes out and says, yeah, we're going to give him a rest. We're going to give him a day, a mental break, a mental health day. Done it with players before. What you do is you say to the player, hey, you're not going to be in the lineup tomorrow. We're not going to pinch hit you. Don't even put your spikes on. Just stay out of the cage. Just come to work and be free. Because in baseball, the mental part of baseball is significant, very significant. If you're giving a player a day off, but you expect that they are available to pinch hit, then you tell them that too. It changes everything about the night before. It changes everything about the day of the game. So Betts got a breather. But Dave Roberts got a little ahead of himself. He said, I don't know how long it's going to be. It could be one night. It could be 2. But my expectation is he's going to be back in there tomorrow. Okay, this was giving him the day off on Saturday. But then it was made clear to the media that Betts will be their shortstop. Don't forget, he's not a shortstop. He's a right fielder, a Gold Glove, Hall of Fame right fielder who is playing shortstop. But I digress. It's hard enough to play shortstop and try to hit, but don't worry, pitching and hitting, easy, easy peasy. So Roberts gets it out there. Yeah, we're good. You know, it'll be my decision on how I feel. But I'll tell you one thing. We're not going to move him out of the 2 spot in the batting order because that's not a solution. When a manager comes out and says something, especially in LA, but really any of the 30 cities, you have to have spoken with your GM. Andrew Friedman does the lineups. I'm sorry, Andrew. You know I love you, But let's not try to pretend that Dave Roberts looks around and says, oh, I think I'll move Ohtani out of the 1 hole and I'll put Betts back in there and move Ohtani to the 2 hole. And then Andrew Friedman walks in the clubhouse, looks at the board and says, oh, we have a lineup change. It does not work that way. Ever. So what appears is that Dave may have gotten ahead of himself and gotten word out to the media, hey, we're not moving Betts. And then all of a sudden it was, you know what? We've got a lineup change, Davey. And so the Dodgers tried the lineup change on Sunday. They moved Ohtani back into the 2 hole. They moved Betts back in the leadoff. I think it was his first time. Ohtani's been leading off forever. I thought they'd move Ohtani out of the leadoff a long time ago. Got it totally wrong. Now that he's out of the leadoff, are you going to have Betts hit leadoff? And if he doesn't get hot, then you're going to move him back? Are you going to move him lower than 2? How many games do you give him? When you make a lineup change with a player who's used to being in the lineup at a certain spot, when you talk to the player about it, you don't say, hey, it's for a day. We'll see what happens here with the Dodgers. I'm a little worried with the Dodgers about some internal strife. Clayton Kershaw got the start yesterday, and he doesn't normally, he's not the center of negative attention or any sort of sabotage that happens off the field. But during his press avail after he pitched, he said, you know, they beat us. I'm not making anything of it. We need to play better tomorrow. But then he said, I don't have much to say. Quote, I'm going to get myself in trouble, so let's just call it. And that was the end of the press avail. When a veteran like Kershaw says that, hey, I've got nothing good to say, I might get in trouble, it may remind you of LeBron. Remember when LeBron was asked about something related to the Lakers? He said, the last time someone spoke up, they got traded. Talking about AD. Well, I don't want to get traded, so I'm not going to say a word. When Clayton Kershaw, who has the same pedigree as LeBron in terms of Hall of Fame, veteran status, leader of the team, you saw what happened during the All-Star game when he was taken out after 2/3, standing ovation from both dugouts, reminiscent of me giving Roger Clemens a standing ovation in the World Series because that was his last game, which it wasn't, because then he decided to keep pitching with love and help from God and packages sent to his house. So Kershaw has a problem with the Dodgers. And generally, you keep that inside the clubhouse. But for him to say what he said, is there a problem brewing with Dave Roberts? Is there a problem with anyone on the coaching staff, the pitching coach? Is there a problem with anyone in that clubhouse? As we watch the Dodgers season run toward the end, it's not if they don't repeat that we'll see changes, but if they have a first-round loss, they're going to make the playoffs. But if they have an early exit from the playoffs and then we see a change, let's go back to this day, July 21st, and maybe we will be able to figure out what the issue was. Until then, they'd be very smart to keep it quiet.